What's up, family? Gerald the Bossman here. You're tuned into the Bossman Show on AM 1010, AM 1430, 1055 The King. Let the King out at 105theking.com and the Bossman Show at bossmanshow.com. Hit me up on Instagram, the Bossman Show, Twitter at Bossman Show, and Facebook, Bossman Show. It's the Bossman on your radio.
Listen to the Bossman Show with your host, JR, Saturdays at 9 a.m. right here on AM 1010, The King.
What's up, good people? BetOnline is your number one source for all your betting needs. The latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use your promo code BELIEVE, B-L-E-A-V, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.
Yes, BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV, covering content and hot topics from A to Z, sports, music, society and culture, movie reviews, you name it, we have it. Check it out on bs3network.com or check us out on Roku, BS3 TV on Roku, as well as check out your favorite podcast on all podcast platforms or Spreaker.com/BS3 Network.
You are now tuned to BS3 Network.
Back on the Bossman Show, talking to my guy, Coach G, the head coach of the Buffalo Bulls out of the MAC Conference. You see him in the background with the great visual behind you. Coach G, what's up, bro? How you doing, man?
It's great to be here, boss man. Life's great in Buffalo. The best time of year in terms of weather here. As everybody says, we get a lot of snow, but it's not as much snow as people think. We always tell our guys anyway in our sport that, if you're worried about the snow, you should be indoors working on your game anyway. But we're loving life right now in Buffalo, man. Life's great.
I hear that, man. Let me ask you, man, I know last year was a tough year for you guys, man. So for you and your mindset, your staff, what's been the biggest growth for you from year one going into year two here this summer?
Yeah, I think for us, with the rule changes, there's a lot of opportunity for everybody. We had guys that stayed on with us last year that, when their coach transition occurred, they weren't able, because of the transfer rules, to maybe, decide on whether they wanted to stay at Buffalo or go to a spot that fit them better. And I think for those guys, I'm excited for them to have that opportunity, to be able to pick a spot that really fits exactly what they're looking for. If what we were isn't what they really ended up realizing they wanted. And then the guys that we had that we did retain, the four guys, Ryan Sable, AJ Bolden, Bryson Wilson, and Lloyd McVeigh, all had really great first years for us in their own right. So I'm excited for them to grow as sophomores and really bring in 9 other new players around them, a couple of transfers, a couple of young guys, a couple of guys out of prep school that we're really excited about.
And this summer, Coach G, man, let me ask you, brother, as you go through workouts here, it's going to be more of team stuff to integrate 9 new guys with 4 returning guys was going to be kind of more development for the players, and we'll worry about team stuff from August, September, and October.
Yeah, I think it's a hybrid model, right, boss man? I think it's you have to work, but you got to kind of do both concurrently. You can't separate them, because you always want to try to be building team concepts, but you also want to, summer's the best time to individually improve guys' games and kind of grow their game. So I think for us, with a lot of new guys, we're going to have to get them first to really understand when they come in. They've been recruited this way, but until you get there and you're on the court together and you're going through it every day, the lifts, the yoga, we're going to have our guys do some boxing this summer. That's not even basketball related, but then also the on the court mentality is going to be something that's really important for them to all understand and learn immediately. And that mentality and the culture, right? So that's going to be a big part of it, but also then getting individually in the gym with our great coaching staff, and then also working on how do we build out our team concepts. We'll probably be more holistic, not the nitty gritty of everything, focus more on offense in the summer and improving our offense to the best that we can. And then we'll really hammer home we'll work on defense, but focus more on the offense. And then in the fall, when we get back, that's kind of like when we're implementing our defensive, strategy, how we're going to be able to implement different things or adjust. But summer's going to be a big time for their individual development, especially on the offensive end.
100%, man. I feel like this too, Coach G, like getting guys in the gym together now. I know back when you and I played, it was October 15th was the day. Now you can come in the summertime and build these bonds, get with your guys, kind of know what you have, so you're not trying to figure it out in 3 weeks to come out when practice starts.
Yep.
So how, as a coach, man, getting that opportunity to evaluate early and often so you can know what you're dealing with come November the 4th when things tip off?
I think it's huge, man. I do. I remember being a graduate assistant when coaches weren't allowed on the court when I was working for Jay Wright back in 08, 09, my first year, right? And, I was able to be down there and rebound for guys and be on the floor where coaches really couldn't do anything in the summer, and they had to wait all that time. I'm like, man, this is crazy, right? But the rule shifts and the ability to be on the court with guys is so crucial to build camaraderie, to build trust, to really, I feel like, also be able to develop them and get that time to develop, like we just talked about. It's huge. And to have all the coaches down there, including the head coach, just allows that trust to be built, but also allows them to expand their games. And I think it only gives you a chance to be more ready. And as that time comes, and I think what we did figure out too, Bossman, is that 4 hours a week is great. If it went up a little bit, nobody would argue with that either in terms of the amount of hours we get on the floor. But that time, you get, and then the 2 breaks you usually get in the spring, but also the fall, when they go home, in the summer, it gives them enough time where you're not just running them into the ground. So I think the greatest thing too is for coaches is you don't feel like an October 15th hits and you got to get 9 million things in and you're behind. You're not playing catch up anymore.
No doubt, because now you kind of like a well-oiled machine. You know what you're doing, know what concepts are, because you and I both know this as players, man. The game plan discipline is very important. Having the right mentality when the ball tips off is very important. So you get those reps from June, July, August, September, because the more reps you get, the more you know what you're doing. And talk about the piece of this for young men, Coach G's, like, understand the game means having skill on the court, but yes, none of that's the middle part. Know how to make the right reads. Defense doing to you. Looking at the backside, looking at all 10 players on the court, not just what you're doing. Give them to understand that the game as a holistically, it's more than just what you're doing. We're all in this on a string together.
No doubt. I think it's such a great asset for players to be able to have coaches to teach them how to think the game at the next level, no matter what time of their career they're in. Obviously for a first-year guy, it's huge. There's so many transitions. So getting them in the summer is key because you get them acclimated to a college campus, going to school at the college level. So when they get back in the fall, you don't feel like they're blindsided by 9 million things on top of the pressure of having to know concepts and reads and all the stuff that we're going to demand of them as basketball players, right? So it weans them in the right way, but then it gives you a chance, especially in this changing environment where you might have new guys on a team every year, to really teach your terminology, because terminology sometimes shifts place to place. It gets you to get them to understand your concepts and how you're going to play. And I think that is such a value for all of us, no matter where you're at, because and as a player, the best way you can have success is having a team that's connected. So the more time you get to spend together doing what you do, the better off chance you have. So I think that's a big part of it.
No doubt. And also, what's also good about it is this, man, like, I love getting watching film, man. I love the film room. I love being able to look and see what guys are doing, know my opponent's tendencies, what their weaknesses are, and how are you using analytics now to help your guys with offense and defense, knowing where a guy wants to get to, knowing where their hot spots are, their cold spots are, get them to understand, hey, this is what's best for your game, how to attack their strengths and build those up, also boost the weaknesses as well, based on what you see from the analytics piece of it. It's just when you watch the film and get those stats back.
Yeah, I think for us, the biggest thing with analytics is looking at it from a team perspective and really decision-making as a team and how that can impact the game, whether it's pace of play. We look at that stuff all the time, but then you also have to look at your team, your roster, your makeup. You watch the NBA playoffs now, obviously, because of the way Indiana was built, they played super fast, where all my guys that I love on the New York Knicks, they played a little slower pace, grind out game, half court game. And both are great styles for the individual team because of the personnel, right? So I think the biggest key is still understanding your personnel and kind of trying to fit those pieces together. Give guys confidence. I don't want to use analytics ever in our program to take away confidence of a player or what they do well. So we'll never really use it to say you can't do that. We'll maybe use it to educate them on why there might be a better option. But like you said, I think from a team perspective of, shots at the rim, threes, when to use the mid-range, I think you got to know your personnel on all that stuff, right? So really from an analytics perspective, I think for us, we're going to really look at it from a team perspective, like possessions, how many possessions we want to get and why. Some defensive metrics that we might use with, stops or how you're going to deflections, right? But that's still partially built into what you do and execute basketball wise too, right? At the end of the day, any coach is going to tell you, I'm better when I have guys that can make shots, and I'm better with a team that can get stops.
No doubt.
I think how you do that is all based off of what your personnel is, but there's a huge benefit to using analytics to sift through a lot of it to really streamline the focus of what the team needs to think about.
And defensively, last year and going forward, how do you kind of teach the keeping your hands up as a secondary defender, trying to draw a charge, knowing they ain't going to give you a charge no more, but keep your hands up, just contest hard with high hands and having hands to the lights? How they affect how you talk with the rule change of secondary defenders getting charges now?
Yeah, I think they want freedom of movement, and I get it. The scoring is everybody loves scoring. So how do you play within that context? And what you emphasize is really important to your team, right? Because you can work on being the best team at taking charges in the country, but it's really hard to get them with the rules. So you don't want to take away a guy's decision to maybe try to do it at times. Hey, there's still times you could take a charge, right? You just got to explain, you have to be set. You got to be sure, you're really you stepped up into it. You're steady. You're still. And it can't be after a dude leaves his feet or even really goes into his motion, right? It's really hard. So you start teaching the rule of verticality, where it's, hey, if you're there and if there's an indecision, you probably have to leave your feet, go hands straight up, and you can't shift your body into him or sideways. You got to go straight up, and that's your best chance to make a play on that situation, right? So and that's great, with our MAC guys. They send out some refs to us to explain the rules in person. Our head of referees is great and really gives us a great understanding as coaches. And then it's our job as coaches to figure out how we want to emphasize that in our own program.
No doubt. And speaking of your conference, man, the MAC is a heck of a conference, man. a lot of great coaches, a lot of great talent. So for you going through it year one and seeing the talent in the league and coaching the league of guys like John Gross and Cindy down there, man, doing their thing, and Coach Kowalski down there, guys like that, man. How has it been in that league amongst all those guys, man, going against them, man, and knowing what you have to compete with going forward?
I already knew it was going to be a beast, right? Like, and I told people this last year before we even got into it in last summer. The MAC, you're going into tough environments every time you go on the road and play. That was how we had it for 15 years being in the Big East. You were going into tough environments, on the road, and you were going up against great coaches. And the MAC has great coaches, and you have to play in tough environments. So you're going to have to give everybody your best shot. And there's a lot of parity top to bottom, similar to what we dealt with in the Big East. Didn't matter who you're playing, what the record was, night in and night out, you better bring it. So such respect for all these coaches. I could go and list all of them. I mean, shoot, you got guys who coached at Big Ten schools, Big East schools, that are now coaching and doing well at their programs here in the MAC. And, there's such great respect, but also like really, really proud to be a part of a group of great men that are leading this conference in men's basketball.
For you, Coach G, man, I'm gonna ask you this, man. When did you decide you want to get into coaching, man? I know for me as a player, I knew that my competitive spirit was too much to be a coach because I'm gonna wear the losses too much. I knew that about myself. So for you, man, when did you determine you want to be getting the coaching, man, and this could be the right move for you, man?
Well, I think it's great. If you knew me, my wife would tell you, my son, my 10 and a half almost month son now, old son, 10 and a half months today, I think he is. He is now able to, on his basket in our little player we have for him, he understands the concept of picking up the ball and putting in the hoop himself. He actually did that yesterday. And let's just say he's getting up his 100 reps a day now too. So I think if that says it to you, like it's just kind of always been in my blood, man. I had a younger brother that's 5.5 years younger, Chris. No matter what sport it was, I was out there teaching him it my whole life and driving him. Like I just not only wanted to drive myself individually, but wanted to drive him to be great. And I think that's where the natural instinct of it came from, or the natural fire came from. And then, I got to college and my first 2 years were struggles. I didn't understand how to assimilate to college yet. I thought it would be easier than it was, to be quite honest. I got injured a couple of years and struggled coming back from injuries, and then had an assistant coach there, Mike Smiley at Babson, our assistant coach, and my coach at Babson, Steve Brennan, who's won national championship there and is a great coach in his own right. I really understood there as a D3 player, like getting into it, that this is what I wanted to do. I just knew I had this burning desire to help guys kind of come back from what I had to go through, or also help them grow at that time of their life. And I looked into how do I get into coaching? And my uncle walked on at Ferroli Massimino in the early 90s at Villanova, and Coach Wright, ironically, was an assistant. My uncle and Coach Wright still stayed in contact. And that's how I got to work Villanova's basketball camps going into my junior year of college. And then I really felt going through that process, like I'm sure I want to do this. And then the next summer, I worked again, and the director of operations there, a guy named Jason Donnelly, who now is a vice president, athletic director at Furman University, which is in their own right a great basketball hotbed right now.
Yes.
He was on the coaching staff as a coach, and said, "Hey, we need a graduate assistant next year. I think you'd be perfect for the job." And I interviewed, and it worked out great. 10 days after I graduated from Babson, I was on campus at Villanova, rebounding for Scotty Reynolds and Dante Cunningham and Dwayne Anderson, who's on staff there now, and all those guys, Shane Clark. So that's just how it happened, and I haven't looked back.
Man, I tell you what, bro, I all kudos to you, man. I know I couldn't do it, man. I'll probably be a violation for language because I'll be that you're mad. So
I deal with that sometimes. Don't worry. I deal with it sometimes. You got to be smart about it.
No doubt. Well, Coach G, man, it's fun to have you on the show, man. Hope to see you during the live period. I'll be at the East Jam. I'll be at Lake Point. I'll be around during that live period in July. That first weekend in Atlanta. Hopefully I'll see you down there, man.
Hey, man, Bossman, I can't wait. Maybe we hit up the Chick-fil-A down in Atlanta for a second in between some games, man.
Let's do that, bub. Let's lock it in, my guy.
All right, man.
It was fun, brother.
All right, sounds great.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.
Yes, BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV, covering content and hot topics from A to Z, sports, music, society and culture, movie reviews, you name it, we have it. Check it out on bs3network.com or check us out on Roku, BS3 TV on Roku, as well as check out your favorite podcast on all podcast platforms or Spreaker.com/BS3 Network.
You are now tuned to BS3 Network.
What's up, good people? Bet Online is your number one source for all your betting needs. The latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. Bet Online continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use your promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, where the game starts. What's up, family? Jared the Bossman here. You're tuned into the Bossman Show on AM 1010, AM 1430, 1055 The King. Check The King out at 105theking.com and the Bossman Show at bossmanshow.com. Hit me up on Instagram, The Bossman Show, Twitter at Bossman Show, and Facebook, Bossman Show. It's the Bossman on your radio.
Listen to the Bossman Show with your host, JR, Saturdays at 9 a.m. right here on AM 1010, The King.